Across the vast tapestry of human civilization, the need to measure time has been universal. Every culture, in its own way, has looked up at the heavens and devised systems to mark the passage of days, months, and years. Among the world's most enduring timekeeping traditions is the Hebrew calendar, a complex lunisolar system that has guided Jewish religious observance and community life for millennia. Equally profound, though perhaps less widely recognized, are the ancient calendrical systems of Africa, particularly those forged in the heart of sub-Saharan societies, where the rhythms of the moon and the demands of the land intertwined to structure daily existence. To appreciate the echoes and resonances between these two systems, the Hebrew calendar and the African lunar agricultural cycles, is to embark on a journey through time itself. It is to witness the ingenuity of early astronomers, farmers, and elders who, in distant lands and under different skies, sought to harmonize their lives with the patterns of the cosmos. While historical evidence does not support the claim that the Hebrew calendar was directly derived from African systems, the similarities between them are striking and speak to a shared human impulse to make sense of the world by mapping it onto the heavens above. Picture a world before clocks, before standardized dates, before the relentless tick of modern time. In ancient Africa, life revolved around the cycles of the moon and the turning of the seasons. The waxing and waning of the moon was not merely a curiosity. It was a vital guide, signaling when to plant, when to harvest, when to celebrate, and when to rest. Communities like the Borana people of southern Ethiopia and northern Kenya developed sophisticated lunar stellar calendars, carefully observing not only the moon's phases, but its relationship to particular stars and constellations. Their calendar consisted of 12 lunar months, each about 29.5 days long, totaling 354 days, remarkably close to the length of the lunar year recognized in the Hebrew tradition. These African calendars were inherently agricultural. The land dictated the calendar's logic as much as the sky. The arrival of the rains, the ripening of crops, the migration of animals, all were woven into the structure of time. In many African societies, rituals and communal gatherings were tied to these calendrical markers. The full moon might herald a festival, the new moon a time for reflection or renewal. In this way, the calendar was not simply a record of days. It was the heartbeat of society, a living document that shaped and was shaped by the needs of the people. Now turn your gaze northward, to the lands of ancient Israel and its neighbors. Here, too, the moon played a central role. The Hebrew calendar, as it emerged over centuries, was likewise rooted in lunar cycles. Each month began with the new moon, as observed by witnesses and later calculated by rabbinic authorities. Like the African systems, the Hebrew calendar recognized 12 lunar months, each alternating between 29 and 30 days, for a total of approximately 354 days. But the Hebrew sages faced a familiar challenge. The lunar year was shorter than the solar year by about 11 days. Left uncorrected, this discrepancy would gradually shift the months out of sync with the seasons, a problem for a people whose sacred festivals were intimately tied to the agricultural year. The solution, found in both Africa and the Hebrew world, was to introduce a 13th, or leap, month at regular intervals. In the Hebrew calendar, this adjustment follows the Metonic cycle, adding a leap month 7 times in every 19-year period. Similarly, some African societies added extra days or adjusted their calendars as needed, ensuring that the cycles of the moon remained anchored to the cycles of the earth. This is not merely a technical detail. It is a testament to the sophistication and adaptability of these ancient systems. The parallels between African and Hebrew calendars do not end with their structure. Both traditions imbued their calendars with spiritual and communal significance. Time was not an abstract concept, divorced from daily life. It was sacred. In Africa, the calendar was a tool for survival, but also a source of identity and meaning. The rituals that marked the beginning of a new month or the harvest of a crop were moments of collective affirmation, reminders of the community's connection to the land and the cosmos. So too, in the Hebrew tradition, the calendar is the framework for a cycle of festivals and holy days. Passover in the spring, Sukkot in the fall, Rosh Hashanah at the turning of the year. Each festival is rooted in both the agricultural and spiritual calendar, linking the fate of the people to the rhythms of creation. What are we to make of these similarities? Some have speculated that the Hebrew calendar was modeled on or even borrowed from earlier African systems. While this is a tantalizing idea, the historical evidence points instead to parallel development, a testament to the universality of human observation and ingenuity. Across continents, people confronted the same challenge: how to reconcile the cycles of the moon and the sun, how to ensure that sacred times and seasons remained aligned. The solutions they devised were remarkably similar, not because one copied the other, but because both were responding to the same fundamental realities of nature. Yet, the echoes between the African and Hebrew calendars invite us to reflect on deeper questions. What does it mean for different cultures to arrive at similar systems of timekeeping? How does the act of marking time shape our relationship to the world, to each other, and to the divine? In both Africa and Israel, the calendar became a vessel for memory and hope, a way of rooting the community in the past while orienting it toward the future. Consider for a moment the agricultural roots of the Hebrew festivals. Passover, for example, is not only a commemoration of the Exodus from Egypt, it is also the festival of spring, a celebration of the barley harvest. Sukkot, the festival of booths, marks the end of the harvest season, a time for gratitude and reflection. These festivals, like their African counterparts, are inseparable from the cycles of planting and reaping, of scarcity and abundance. They remind us that the calendar is not merely a tool for measuring time, but a map of meaning, a way of weaving the story of a people into the fabric of the earth. In many African societies, the calendar served a similar purpose: the timing of rituals, the gathering of communities, the honoring of ancestors. All were linked to the cycles of the moon and the demands of the land. The knowledge required to maintain these calendars was passed down through generations, held by elders and specialists who watched the skies and listened to the rhythms of the earth. In this way, the calendar became a repository of wisdom, a bridge between past and present, between the natural and the spiritual worlds. Even today, traces of these ancient calendars endure. In parts of Africa, traditional lunar calendars are still used alongside the Gregorian system, guiding agricultural practices and communal life. The Hebrew calendar, too, remains central to Jewish identity, shaping the rhythm of religious observance and cultural memory. The persistence of these calendars is a testament to their enduring relevance, a reminder that, even in an age of atomic clocks and digital timekeeping, we remain bound to the cycles of nature. The story of the calendar is, in many ways, the story of humanity itself. It is a story of observation and adaptation, of continuity and change. It is a story that transcends borders and cultures, linking the farmers of Ethiopia with the sages of Jerusalem, the villagers of West Africa with the communities of ancient Israel. It is a story that invites us to see ourselves as part of a larger whole, participants in the great dance of the cosmos. To claim that Africa wrote the Hebrew calendar before the Jews did is to overstate the case. The historical record does not support a direct borrowing or transmission. But to recognize the deep parallels between these systems is to honor the intelligence and creativity of both traditions. It is to acknowledge that the search for order and meaning in the world is a universal human pursuit, one that has taken many forms, but always returns to the same questions. How shall we mark the passage of time? How shall we remember and celebrate? How shall we live in harmony with the world around us? As the moon waxes and wanes, as the seasons turn, as the years roll on, the ancient calendars of Africa and Israel continue to remind us of our shared humanity. They teach us to look to the heavens, to honor the earth, and to find meaning in the cycles of life. They invite us to pause, to reflect, and to celebrate the gift of time itself. From the earliest days, when our ancestors first looked up at the stars, to the present moment, the calendar has been both a tool and a symbol, a way of measuring the days, but also a way of making sense of our place in the universe. The story of the calendar is a story of connection to the land, to the sky, to each other. It is a story that belongs to all of us. As we reflect on the similarities between the African and Hebrew calendars, let us celebrate the ingenuity of those who came before us, and let us remember that the search for meaning in the passage of time is a journey that unites us all. The calendar is our inheritance, a gift from the past, a guide for the future, a testament to the enduring power of human imagination. So, as we mark the new month, the new year, the changing of the seasons, let us remember that we are part of a great tradition. A tradition that stretches across continents and centuries, linking us to the rhythms of the cosmos and to the wisdom of our ancestors. In the cycles of the moon, in the turning of the earth, in the passage of time itself, we find the threads that connect us to one another and to the mystery at the heart of creation. In the end, the story of the calendar is not just about days and months and years. It is about who we are, where we come from, and where we are going. It is about the ways we seek to understand and celebrate the world around us. And in that search, we discover not only the patterns of the heavens, but the deepest truths of the human heart. As the sun sets and the moon rises, as the seasons change and the years unfold, the ancient wisdom of the calendar endures, a silent witness to the passage of time, and a reminder of the beauty and complexity of the world we share. In every culture, in every age, the calendar has been a mirror of our hopes, our fears, our dreams. It is a legacy that belongs to all of humanity, a testament to the power of observation, imagination, and the enduring quest for meaning. Let us cherish that legacy, honor the traditions of those who came before us, and continue to seek harmony with the cycles of nature. For in the turning of the calendar, we find not only the measure of time, but the story of our own becoming, a story that stretches from Africa to Israel, from the dawn of history to the present day and beyond. In the moon's soft glow, in the promise of the new year, in the gathering of the community at harvest time, we hear the echoes of ancient calendars, reminders that no matter where we come from, we are all travelers on the same journey, guided by the same stars, bound together by the rhythms of the earth. As we look to the future, may we remember the wisdom of the past, and may the calendar continue to guide us, marking not only the passage of days, but the unfolding of our shared human story. If this story moved something in you, share it with someone else who's lost. Subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter. And if there's a legend, a memory, or a haunting you need to hear told, leave it in the comments. Perhaps your story will be the next to rise from the ashes.